So I made little pizzas with tomato soup as the sauce, and I made little loaves of bread, French breads kind of looking things, out of pizza dough balls. Welcome to this episode of Inception Kitchen. Whoa. The history of grilled cheese and tomato soup can be traced back to the Great Depression. Food packaging technology advancing with a demand for easy-to-make and basically invincible food combined to thrust Campbell's soup into the gullets of millions of Americans. Canning food meant feeding the soldiers in World War II became a lot easier. But old Uncle Samuel wanted to provide them with some easy carbs, and before you could say, fire in the hole, a classic was born. Nowadays, we live in a world where there's such thing as the world's most expensive tomato soup and grilled cheese. Made with Cavallo Podolicho cheese, bread made with Dom Perignon, encrusted in 23-carat edible gold, served with a bowl of South African lobster bisque for the low price of $214. If this sounds exciting to you, head on down to New York's Serendipity 3, what a name, and take some selfies with this opulent combo and the rest of the world's biggest dickheads. Grilled cheese and tomato soup made with all the stuff you would normally use to make pizza. Easy peasy, quick, convenient. What are you waiting for? Rolling with the food. Ask any pizza maker in Italy if pizza is bread, and they'll tell you, ma vaffanculo your mamma, stronzo. Or something to that effect. And they're right, to a certain point. You can make bread with pizza dough. There's nothing in my current master dough that I've never seen in a bread recipe. And you can stay tuned to the end of the video to see me make that. Also stick around for a bread making hack I use when making pizza that I'll be using here today for the bread. Just know the rest of the information is dependent on the fact that my pizza dough is always cold fermented. So I'm either getting it out of the fridge or the freezer. It's basically the same, you know, once you've mixed it, you've shaped it into balls and fermented it. From this point requires a little bit of bread specific knowledge and tips. To make bread with a pizza dough ball, you need to get it out of the fridge and leave it at room temperature for about an hour, covered, obviously. After this time, shape it into what's called a batard, by pulling it lightly in one direction and then folding one side over and pinching it, repeating with the other side, then do the two ends. Make sure you are creating lots of surface tension. And then leave that shape covered with whatever you have. I've got a Banneton cloth from Amazon, and then I dust it with a bit of cornmeal, semolina, and flour. And then you keep that covered for about 4 hours at room temperature again, so that it can do some leavening before it hits the oven. Here's some I made earlier. When you're shaping the loaf, you want to get it as taut as you can by pinching it like a sausage. So when the gases are pushing the exterior of it, and the gases push it out, it doesn't, you know, fall flat like a fucking flat thing. And then after those 4 hours are up, screw your bread with a lame, but get them as long as you can, long and singular strokes. You lame it so that it can expand more, right? This provides kind of uniformity. Those are some big fucking slashes. I'm gonna pop it in now. Clever little hack that I actually read in a bread book by David Norman. And what you're doing is you're creating steam in your home oven by using stainless steel chains. Any oven safe pan. In the middle of your oven goes the piece of steel or stone, and underneath that goes a cast iron pan or oven safe pan with the chain, the stainless steel chainmail. Make sure it is 316 grade stainless steel, which is food grade. You don't want to be having little bits of particulates of metal floating about in anything you eat. And then you heat the oven up for about 45 minutes at 450 degrees. Then what you do is you boil a cup of water. You keep that ready. You slide your bread in to the oven. Close the door as quickly as you can. Go and get your water, and then chuck it in the pan. Steam bellows out. Robert is your father's brother. I've got this. So I use this. I do all of this for my pizza. All of it, including this, I procured from old Unky Jeffy Bezo. So it makes it easier because you can just open the oven a little bit. After it's in the oven, you lower the temperature to 400 degrees and then spray the inside of the walls every 10 seconds for 30 seconds. Anyways, yeah, so it's important to let it rest for 20 minutes. Yeah, it's important to let it rest because it's still in its gelatinized form when it's hot, and letting it cool down allows it to properly kind of turn drier, bready-ish, if you will. And incidentally, that's also why you cool a pizza down before you cut it up, so air doesn't get to it and kind of make the gel be gel still. The thing that we're using to thicken this tomato soup is onions. A large majority of soups are thickened with whatever it is that you're making the soup with. But because a large portion of this is coming from onions, they've got lots of kind of sulfur tastes and they're not quite as sweet as tomatoes are. We're going to add back some of that sweet acidity by making a gastric and putting that in the soup to boost back the sweetness and the acidity of the tomatoes. A gastric is merely vinegar and sugar melted together, about equal parts. Using red wine vinegar, dissolve the sugar. Don't want to cook it for too long. This isn't all going to go in the soup either. We're just going to add it to taste. I'm going to take it off the heat. Motherfucker. Now, most of these ingredients every pizza maker has lying about. And we have some tomatoes, butter, white onion, and plus some canned pomodores to save yourself plenty of time passing it through a sieve and all that stuff. You could just not put the seeds in it. Check this out. Add a bomb, add a bomb, add a bomb. Want to see it again? Add a bomb, see it again. Add a bomb. No seeds. See that? Bomb. No seeds. Just meat. Just the meat. I'm just going to do that with all of these. Chicken on the flip, motherfucker. Right, you see all that shit, all that water and shit is not going to go in the soup. One thing to bear in mind is that these seeds do contain glutamates, and there is still some flesh in this, and it could be seen as wasteful, but you know, this is pure flesh and where most of the flavor and taste is concentrated. And if we cook it with all of this stuff, this water and this shit, we're gonna have to cook it for even longer. We reduce it to a consistency that we want, or you know, fill it with other shit to bulk it out, thereby negating the very reason for keeping all this flavor in there. And then the onions, you don't even need to look at them to cut them up. You can just probably won't use all of this. Let's make some soup. A little bit of neutral oil. And we're just going to sweat these down. We're not trying to really get a brown on them. It's going to get its creaminess from the butter and then some flavour from the gastric. Alright, so these are good. We're going to add these. Boink, boink, boink. 500 millis of this. And I'm just going to add a wee bit of water just to get the juicy juice out of the pan. And it's going to go on a low simmer for a little bit. Medium-ish heat. Just till it simmers up. Easy peasy. Tomato squeezy. Simmer, simmer, simmer down. We are waiting for the onions to cook. Like they're a bit, you know, dense-ish. So, because when we blend it up, we want this thing to be silky smooth without doing anything else to it, and that's why it's cooking for this amount of time. If you wanted to speed this process up, you would merely cut the onions thinner and smaller. That would speed it up linearly. It already smells like soup. Yeah, because that what we're waiting for would happen sooner. And I'm really today for some reason I'm really trying to get my head around this whole cooking things for fucking ever that you see all over the YouTubes, you know, to develop flavors, all that bollocks, baloney, all that baloney. You know, like people seem to romanticize walking into a kitchen and it stinking up the house of flavors and aromas all day and stuff like that, right? But what's really happening is that those aromas, that's flavor. You're losing it. Oh, this smells nice, and the reason it smells nice is because it is the flavor. It's leaving. There's plenty of it. Don't get me wrong. But in an ideal world, we would blitz this up as soon as humanly possible and consume it because it would still contain that flavor, the volatile compounds. All right, we're gonna blitz this bad boy up. Hopefully, the shit doesn't go absolutely everywhere. So you can already see that characteristic orangey colour. Pretty silky. It's got a bit of texture. So anyways, we're going to add this butter. That's going to cream the bad boy up and just let that melt into it. This is unsalted butter. All the butter in my fridge is unsalted. That is a shitload. I mean, it's only 4 ounces. It's a lot of butter. We'll bring this back up a little bit, season it, we'll gastric it. That's why you don't have to measure absolutely everything out, follow every recipe. When you first come to making this particular version of tomato soup, just add them in increments, these last two things. Because for me, and this is just me, but I love a bit of extra sweet acidity and fat with my vegetables. Just a dash of kosh, bit of peps. So why only a dash salt? You don't add salt to taste salt in this. You add salt so that you could taste this in this. You never should taste salt unless it's an integral part of the makeup of the dish. Salted caramel. But we're adding salt. You could add lemon juice, cayenne pepper. Those are also flavor enhancers. I already know it's going to need more gastrique. And more of that. So I'd say I'm using like half of this right now. It's definitely a bit flaccid. How do we prevent flaccid? We add fatty. I don't know, a pinch of that. Well, this is the easiest part of the whole process. Cut these nice and thin. You can make them thicker if you want. I'm using fresh mozzarella, this lovely stuff. We get logs full of it from Sam's. Modern sea salt in the mouth. You're just gonna put the cheese on it. Easy peasy. Lemon cheesy. Then a little bit of modern sea salt. And some basil leaves on each, couple each. If you've not got fresh basil, don't use any basil. But if you've not got fresh mozzarella, just use some of the melty gooey cheese that's on the white side. Take this shiny new pan out for a spin, medium-high heat. And on the outside, just a wee bit of unsalted butter. Just like you would. This last part is a little bit redundant because everybody knows how to do this bit. A little bit on there, not too much. Don't forget, we're gonna eat spoonfuls of butter with the soup. Wait till they're nice and toasty brown, flip them over. That's it. And I'm gonna put a little bit of Parmesan cheese, give them a little flip. Wow, look at that. Bit of that. Now we might as well make it as pizza-like as we can. Am I right? Am I right, people? Good, track pepper. Give her a little poor man's broiler there. Alright, that is it. Get schooled. Just joking. I know you know how to do this shit. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Thanks for watching this. See you next time, baby boos. Oh no. Simmer down. Simmer down. Simmer up. I'm going to demonstrate my current master pizza dough, and especially for Retfo Show. This is old Sam Frowlon. He's super virulent. He's a bit of a beast. I've been making my main pizza dough with this guy ever since I made him. I keep this starter in the fridge. I use the discard once a week. I'll make a pizza dough with it. And the process is very simple. I get 590 grams filtered cold water. To that, I'm going to add 300 grams of starter. This adds 150 grams of flour and 150 grams of water. So basically a 50-50 starter. So usually what I keep in this jar is a total of 450 grams. So I'll feed this now 150 grams each of flour and water. Put it back in the fridge. And then next week do it again. Now, I don't know if, you're really supposed to do this, but this thing has been super fucking healthy. I have been following this practice. Give a little blowtorch to the spoon. Any spoon that goes in the flour or the water gets the same treatment. I use organic flour only. Get in there. So yeah, nice clean jar, and then it goes back in the fridge. You can watch either of my master dough videos to see the origins, Sam Frowlon's origins, right here. And then she gets mixed up and put back in the fridge. That's it. I have 590 grams of all-purpose flour, 30 grams of gluten, 22 grams of diastatic malt, 35 grams of sugar, 2.8 grams of instant dry yeast. Mix that shit together. So first you put the wet ingredients in there. Off to the side, I have 20 grams of salt. I've been using coconut oil. Secret little ingredient. There's a reason for this, and there's also a reason why they stay to the side. And then you just slowly add the dry ingredients till it forms a dough. I just realized I didn't tell you what this is yet. This is a little ice pack because I have to turn the AC off, and I live in Atlanta and it's dead middle of summer, so it's to keep the temperature down. Then after about 6 or 7 minutes, we add the coconut oil and we add the salt. Plonk. I usually add the oil, go for 3 minutes, then add the salt. But I'm going to try something new tonight, see if it makes a major difference. We're going to bulk ferment it. So even if it's not fully up to it, kind of fully glutened, fully developed, the gluten, it's still quite nice. Because it's going to sit in the fridge overnight. So let's just get shaped into a ball. It's a very sticky dough, but that's got very little to do with the ingredients and more to do with my soft water. Goes in the fridge till tomorrow, and in the morning it'll be big like this, and I go smash it down and then shape it into the balls, put it back in the fridge. 3 of them in the freezer, 2 in the fridge, whatever. This is actually the second time I've done this dough. So I've only done it once, this way, this method, with bulk fermentation, and it came out fucking nice. And actually, the bread that I made that you saw was with this. That's it, done. I'll add the recipe. I'll update this on the website.